Welcome to sports.com. My name's Tony Boniferro. I'm joined alongside tonight Taylor Kehoe from Strathroy, Ontario. Taylor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So Taylor is, for those of you that don't know about Taylor, Taylor has recently accepted a full ride golf scholarship to the University of Alabama. So congratulations, Taylor, for golf. Kind of talk us a little bit
Thank
through, talk us a little bit through about how that came to be and how did you end up at Alabama?
Oh, well, I chose Alabama because, well, it has one of the best golf programs, and the coach just like helped me reach my future goals. But also just the team and then the atmosphere of the school is great, and they treat their athletes like royalty, so it's like awesome. And even the academics are also important to me, so it was kind of just a good fit all around.
So that's great. So Taylor, obviously we have you here on Sioux Sports, and people are probably wondering what your ties are to Sault Ste. Marie. So, kind of talk about your ties to the Sioux and kind of how I got in touch with you.
Yeah, so well, a bunch of my family lives down there. Both of my parents grew up there, and both my grandparents still live down there. And then I have a family,
Yeah,
my uncle you put up to me. So yeah, I have a ton of family down there. So we try to get up as much as we can to visit them.
that's awesome. And did you live here at all when you were younger?
Like when I was really tiny, I honestly don't really remember it though.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So obviously, the reason we wanted to talk to you was, you know, a full ride golf scholarship isn't something that a lot of people have kind of, especially up here in the north, going to the States, have really seen a lot of. So, up here in the Sioux, people are kind of focused on hockey, football, soccer, those types of sports. And golf is becoming more popular up here, but people don't usually think about getting scholarships for this. I wanted to kind of talk to you about your journey and how you kind of got to this point. So, how did you get into golf originally when you first started playing?
It's actually kind of a funny story. So, my dad actually golfed for the first time the day before his wedding. And so, once we were getting older, my sisters and I told him that if he wanted to keep golfing, then he would have to bring us. So, then he started bringing us to the golf course more, and us and my sister and I. And then we just fell in love with it. And yeah, that's how we got into it. It's kind of a funny story.
That's awesome. So, at what point did you realize, hey, you know what? Like, I'm pretty good at this. Like, I could kind of do something with this. Like, what point did you realize that there could be a future for you here?
I'd say, well, there's this one tournament, and I played in it when I was like 9, 10, and 12. But I
Mhm.
think probably when I was 11, and it's a big world championship tournament, and it's probably the tournament that I realized that I could do something with golf because I could compete with, at the time, were the best junior golfers in the whole entire world. So I think that's a good realization for me.
That's great. So, what kind of commitment has this taken from you? I mean, obviously, we live in Canada, right? So our summers aren't quite as long, but what kind
Mhm.
of commitment has golf taken from you so far?
It's definitely a big commitment, but I'm happy to do it. I really try to prioritize like the things I want to do as well. So like hanging out with my friends and that kind of stuff, as well as golf and practicing. In the winter, it's definitely more of a commitment because golfing inside isn't as motivating as golfing outside, hitting into
Yeah,
a net and like that kind of stuff. So it's tough, but I like to go away in the winters when I can to practice. So that's always nice to have the opportunity.
so, a lot of people obviously know about rep hockey, AAA hockey, or civic soccer, rep soccer, those types of things. So, for someone in your stage and kind of when you were younger and kind of progressing through, can you kind of talk about the tours or the tournaments that you played on, kind of growing up, or not all the tournaments,
Yeah.
obviously, but just kind of some of the tours that you've had to play?
Yeah. So I started my first ever tournaments were kind of like US Kids. So it's like a development tour mostly. Um, so I a lot, and then I did a Meyer tour. It was based out of Michigan. It's really close to where I live, so that was another one. And definitely AJGA. I've been doing that since I was 12. So that's a really good program as well, but it's higher level. You get a lot of different people from around the world, which is really cool. And then you get to travel to different places for that tour. Now I'm playing a lot of like amateur events and young pro events. So, but yeah, definitely tours help me to the player I am right now.
So you played on the AJGA Tour as well, right? The
Yeah.
American Junior Golf Association Tour over the last
Yeah.
couple of years. Can you kind of talk a little bit
Mhm.
about that tour and kind of the level of competition that you face there?
Yeah, so that tour is one of the best tours you could play on as a junior golfer. They travel around the US and do different tournaments. So there's different types. There's junior all-stars, which is 12 to 15, and then open events, which is basically up until you can go to university. And then there's special tournaments like invitationals, which they base it off of rankings and then you get invited to play into them. So you'd have to move your way up and work your way up the rankings, but it's a really good tour and I've made a lot of really good friends there that I think I'll be friends with for forever. So it's been really good for me to learn tournaments and just about myself on that tour.
So, I mean, like you're kind of, and you did a great job of discussing the tour, but I was looking at your record, right? And you've won three championships on this tour over the last couple years, and you won two in 2020, I believe, and one in 2021. That has to
Yeah.
be that has to be quite the accomplishment to actually win on these tours.
Yeah, I actually have six. So I won one when I was 13, which was a junior all-star, and then I won five open events. So yeah, but it's very, very good. It was very cool to be able to say that I've won a couple of those tournaments. It's a very big accomplishment. Really proud of it.
No, absolutely. So, at what point did you realize? I kind of asked you, at what point did you realize you'd be good? At what point did you realize, hey, you know what? I have an opportunity to go play D1, in the States at a top 10 ranked school for female golf. Like that's a huge opportunity. At what point did you realize that, that this could happen?
I would say probably grade 8 was when I got my first like letter from a university.
Wow.
So I think at that point I kind of realized like, oh, maybe I can, be good enough to go to one of these schools if I keep working hard. And it kind of just kept going from there once I got that first letter, and then I got a couple more, and then more coaches came out and watched at tournaments, mostly the AJGAs, and then yeah, that was probably the moment that I thought I could go to school.
So you're also a member of the Canadian national team. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that and kind of what your role has been with them?
So this will be so I haven't been on it for too long. Last year it was kind of up in the air just because of COVID, so I didn't really get to do too many, I guess. But there was a lot of tournaments where I would see my other teammates, so we'd get a chance to kind of talk and hang out at those tournaments. But I'm hoping that this upcoming year will be a little bit better in the aspects we have more camps and we get to hang out more as a team and it's more of like a team atmosphere. Just yeah, COVID kind of ruined that last year, so
Yeah.
I don't know about it, but it was still a really good experience for me last year.
Oh, that's great. So I got a couple kind of rapid fire questions here for you.
All right.
So we'll start with what's the best part of your game?
Right.
Sorry?
My putt.
Oh, you're putting? Okay.
Yeah.
What's the weakest part of your game?
I my long irons right now.
Yep. What's your best memory on a golf course?
Okay, so when I don't remember how old I was, but I was playoff in the tour championship of a tournament, and I holed out for eagle. So that and it was my first ever hole out and my first ever eagle. So that was probably my
Wow.
best memory, and it's on camera, so I think that's also pretty cool.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Um, what's your most embarrassing moment on a golf course?
Um, a single time that use a short putt.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I have to ask you this because obviously you're a better golfer than I'll ever be. But at your level of golf, do you ever shank one off the tee still every so often, or do you ever like like just kind of completely miss the ball or really duff one or
I wouldn't say that I ever really miss it or anything, but definitely I will like block some out to the right or, hit
yeah,
some, yeah, definitely hit some really bad shots still.
good, yeah, makes us rookies feel good. So. Who's your favorite golfer?
Brooke Henderson and Nelly Korda probably, and then for men, I would say Justin Thomas is one of my favorites.
Who do you emulate your game after?
Um, Probably Nelly Korda.
What's the best course you've ever played on, in your opinion?
My opinion, I
Yeah.
would say North Carolina.
What's the favorite course you've played on?
Mm, Probably the same one, Country Club in North Carolina. But I've also played Pinehurst number 2. Pretty
Wow, yeah, that'd be cool. And finally, who can drive farther, you or Uncle Ray?
probably me.
I'd love to see him on the golf course sometime. I bet you
Me
yeah.
too.
Oh, that's great. Um, so obviously you're going to go to Alabama next year.
Mhm.
What does it look like at being a D1 athlete playing golf? Do you know anything about the commitment, the time commitment, what your responsibilities are, those types of things?
Yeah. They have a couple days a week team practices, and then they expect you to practice on your own as well. And then mornings, I think I'm not too familiar with it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's like 3 times teamwork morning that is you have to, it's mandatory. And then they expect you to keep up on all of your schoolwork and go to all your classes when you're at school and not traveling for tournaments. So it will definitely be busy, but I'm really looking forward to it.
What kind of long-term goals do you have?
I would say for me, I hope to be on the LPGA one day. That's kind of like my top goal. But I have a lot of college goals as well. So be a freshman. I want to be freshman of the year and win some tournaments with my team, make it to NCAA finals and that kind of stuff, but then also keep a good GPA. So that's also very important to me.
That's amazing. That's so awesome. It sounds like you have a really bright future in front of you, and obviously, I need to ask you this. So, how far can you drive?
On average, I would say like 260.
Wow, that okay. Yeah, I think I hit 260 once, and I was pretty excited. So,
That's not
that's
carry.
so
That's like with roll. I'd say
yeah.
like 240 and then roll to two.
That's amazing. So, how did you become so good? Like, do you have obviously coaches and those types of things that work with you all the time?
I do, yeah. So my coach his name is Gareth, and he works with a bunch of LPGA players as well. And I've been working with him maybe like 5 or 6 years now. So he's definitely helped me. But then also my dad has done a lot for me as well with just coming out to practice with me and making sure that I'm doing the right things and that kind of stuff. So he's also definitely been has had a big impact on my game.
Obviously, you've talked about your family quite a bit, and before we let you go here, I got to let you kind of talk about the commitment and the sacrifice that family makes, for you to kind of get to this point, and kind of what your family means to you, and kind of have helped you get to this point.
Yeah, well, my family, they are amazing. They're super supportive. I have two younger sisters as well. They both do sports, so also a golfer. The other one competitive soccer. So very busy family, and even my grandparents, they are very very supportive as well. But yeah, I'm super thankful for everything that my parents have done for me. When I was not able to drive, they would always get me everywhere that I needed to be, whether it was like school, golf practice, other sport practices. They were just all me to be on time. Grateful for that. They don't have to as much anymore because I have my own license, but yeah, I would not be where I am today without them.
Oh, that's great. And Taylor, obviously, this is the last question we normally ask everybody, so I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but if the Kehoe family gets together in out in Thessalon at Uncle Ray and at Uncle Ray's place, where are you guys getting pizza from?
Definitely Aurora's.
Oh, okay, another vote for Aurora's. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, listen, we really appreciate you doing this. Obviously, you're going to have a whole group of fans up here cheering for you going forward, and we'll obviously be paying attention to your career and especially what you're doing at Alabama. And it'd be great to come back, after next season and come back, and we'd love
yeah,
to have you back on the show and kind of tell us about your year and kind of, we'd like to keep tabs on you. So thank you so
for
much for
sure.
doing this. Yeah, congratulations with everything that's come your way, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Taylor. Take care.
Bye.